name is Pete Van Bedef, and I'm a dairy farmer from North Dakota in the United States. We started on earlage harvest here on our farm 3 days ago on Friday. Earlage, if you're not familiar, they put a corn head that typically goes on a combine, and they use an adapter to put it on a corn chopper, and it just pulls the cobs off themselves and runs them through the chopper. That's essentially our energy source instead of feeding dry corn, for example. We have about 300 acres of that done, and then was a little on the wet side maybe, and we were getting towards a variety that was later date in days. So the second chopper came here last night. He started on this field here on silage, and I made the decision to put both choppers on silage here today. So we've been going on corn silage here just for about 4 or 5 hours here, I suppose, at this point. Wanted to come out here, take a look at the field, kind of show you guys what the corn looks like. So far, dry matter's been right 32% to 34%, so right in the window. Actually really satisfied with the dry matter here so far. So this field that we're working on here is a field of our neighbors that we contract with. So he buys manure from us, and then we in turn buy this corn from him by the ton, and then dry matter corrected. So this is what the corn looks like here. Got some decent cobs on here. This field that we're on here at the moment typically does really well tonnage wise. We've harvested corn off this field every other year for probably the last 12 years, I suppose. We've worked with this neighbor of ours for quite a number of years, and he always tends to have pretty good corn on this field. So just early going here, we have about 1,200 acres of corn silage to do, and then kind of depends how much earlage, depends a little bit on the yield. Be 400 or 500 acres more than likely of earlage. So we've got 300 done, for sure another 200 to do after that, and then yeah, we'll see what the yield looks like, what the tonnage looks like. But really nice weather. We had 2 inches of rain 2 weeks ago, so we were a little concerned about field conditions. We have pretty heavy soil here, heavy clay soil, but in general, at least where we are here at the moment, you can see that they're leaving tire tracks, but nobody has gotten stuck yet at this point, so that's been good. I think Jason, our custom chopping operator, custom chopping guy, he's got 5 tractors with trailers, and then we've got one of our own running to help keep up. This is the furthest away field for silage for us. They were about 3 miles away from the farm, and then the earlage field that they were on yesterday, that's about 5 miles from the farm. So those 2 fields, they're the furthest away corn from the farm. Everything else essentially is within about 2 miles of our farm, so that should be pretty good going once we get these furthest away fields done. But we'll maybe head back to the farm, and I'll show you guys a couple of projects that we have going on at the farm here as well at the moment. At the pile here now, I like to a few times during the day take a look at the silage myself, check the cut length from both choppers, make sure both choppers are crushing the kernels really good, make sure we've got no whole kernels. As you see, the tractor's working here. We're piling up against the face that we were feeding from, so that's actually 2023 silage that we're piling back up against. So we'll match up to that face. We'll go a little higher, probably a foot higher, maybe 2, and then work our way back to the north this way towards our commodity building and our shop. And we just started feeding from the south end of this pile, so we'll start feeding from that end and then work our way back this way. We have about 6 to 8 months worth of inventory of silage there, so it'll be about that time before we get into this year's silage. And the plan is to harvest about a year's worth, maybe a little over, of silage here this way. Like to have at least a year and a half, or like to have at least a half year's worth of silage before we get started, and have at least a year and a half worth of inventory once we're done with chopping. But I'll maybe show you guys that quick here, how the silage looks and what I'm looking at here up close. I've got this cup here, a measuring guide on it, and then we shouldn't see any whole kernels out of this cup. So this is our scale here. We scale all the loads coming in. They stop on a scale, we print a ticket for every load, and then mark down what field that load came from if we happen to be harvesting off of multiple fields, so we keep them separate. But I've got my cup of silage here. Then I like to grab some pieces that are nicely cut, and then measure them here. Want to be about 19 millimeters is what we're shooting for here. There's a nice piece there. Yeah, so we're just under 20. So that's good, and then I like to look through it and make sure we've got no whole kernels in here. So they're all completely shattered. That's what we're looking for. And then I did pull a sample to put in a Ziploc bag. I'll put that in the freezer, and then our nutritionist will grab that when he comes to the farm next week. I'll pull samples, green samples from each field and each different variety. We won't feed based off of these samples, but we'll make variety decisions for next spring on what we're going to plant for next year based on these samples, or somewhat based on these samples anyways. So I'll go toss this in the freezer, and then I'll show you guys what else we're working on here this week. So we are out front by our milking parlor outside the building here. So what we've got going on here, also we took delivery of this chiller here Sunday morning, 7 a.m. yesterday morning, and we are currently using these 8 compressors to run this one bulk tank. 6 go to our current chiller. That chiller sits inside here at the moment. That will be coming out, and this is essentially an all-in-one unit here. So there's compressors on the top, and then there's glycol bath inside, and then we also have hot water recovery. So we currently are not using the heat from our compressors for anything. That heat is just lost. This new chiller will capture that heat and heat water up to about 140 degrees Fahrenheit, and then that water will then enter our hot water heater. So instead of warming water from 40 to 50 degrees Fahrenheit up to 160 to 180 degrees, depending on which hot water heater it's going into, we'll now be going from 140 degrees to that 160 to 180. So we will reduce our water heating cost, and then it'll also allow these compressors to run cooler, because they're essentially also being cooled with that hot water. So this the dealer will be coming tomorrow to start working on this, and then along with that we are also replacing this smaller bulk tank with another silo just like this one here. So this is a 40,000 gallon silo. We're going to be putting one identical to that one right beside it here. So these compressors will all come out, this tank will come out. We have to demolition this concrete here and then pour a new slab for that silo, as this pad currently is sloped a little bit away from the building. It will be pouring a flat surface essentially for that other silo to sit up against, and then this silo here is fresh water that goes out to all the cows and essentially any water source on the farm. But we'll be working on this here, or our dealer will be here tomorrow, Tuesday and Wednesday. Hopefully by Wednesday they've got this chiller operational and that tank removed, and then the plan is 2 weeks from today to install that new milk silo. So we'll be just down to one milk tank here for a couple weeks, which will be a little bit challenging to get washed as we're milking about 20 hours a day. But yeah, we've got a pretty good milk hauler with some good drivers, so I'm hoping that they'll work good with us here to try to get it washed when we have downtime in the parlor. So we need to empty that silo at about 11 a.m. or p.m. and then that gives us about a 2-hour window to wash it and then set it up again for the next milking. But hopefully that only needs to be for about 2 weeks, maybe 3, depending on how quick it takes our dealer to get that new silo in operation. But that's tentatively the plan here. The last thing I wanted to show you guys is construction project we have going on here. So this barn here, that's one of our milking barns that houses our milking cows. And then the barn that I'm standing in here is our heifer barn, and then has a pen of far-off dry cows in it. So we are in the process of putting a connecting building here between the 2 barns, and then also connecting the manure systems. We currently bed with manure solids in our heifer barn, and we are converting that to sand bedding. We bed with sand bedding on all the milking cows. We'll be converting this barn to sand bedding, and then we reclaim the sand. So all of that sand and manure ends up in a central building in between 2 of our milking barns, and then we separate the sand from the manure and reuse that as bedding. So going forward, we will be bedding all of our free stalls with sand, and then we're also going to be trimming cows here. We currently trim in another location, but this will be a dedicated hoof trimming area here. Concrete crew is here. They have this section formed up. They're going to pour that this afternoon. Then they're going to pour that hoof trimming area tomorrow. And they should, in theory, be wrapped up here by the end of this week. And hopefully the building shows up here at some point. I'll have that section done there shortly. And then they also have this room here ready to go. So there used to be a little building kind of right in between those 2 new walls, and the electrical came into this barn in that building, and then we had some breeding supplies for breeding our heifers in that building. So that all got moved into this building here. Electrical is just temporarily hooked up here for right now. They can get that floor poured in there. We framed those walls up over the weekend. Our electrician can come in there and hang the power boxes back on the walls and get everything working in this barn. We currently just have lights on, and then a feed bin that has protein pellets for our calves running. But that's what I wanted to show you guys here today. I appreciate you guys watching and following along. If you do want to see more of what's going on our farm, I do have a YouTube channel where I post a video every Wednesday, and you can check that out at Pete Van Bedaf, ND Dairy Farmer. Yeah, appreciate you guys watching.
G'day all, welcome back. Just doing a bit of trial here this year with Treflan in front of our summer crop. Currently got a contractor over here sowing turnips, and Treflan's used extensively in the cropping regions to help suppress ryegrass in their cereal and canola crops. So I was given a trial here to try, and it's on label for wireweed, but some other weeds like fat hen and stuff. I was going to give it a trial and see how it goes, because that's one of our biggest things. And access to chemicals, unless you go down a different route of turnips, is hard to control fat hen, which is one of our biggest issues. So yeah, currently just putting this out. Well, let me change, but and yeah, we'll see how it goes. So we've got about 20 hectares of summer crop going in, which is a mixture of forage leafy turnip and an actual proper bulb turnip, which obviously will get grazed, you know, from over the summer months for us, when most times we don't have any grass. But yeah, see how this goes, and yeah, throughout the video I'll show you how much grass I've actually got, which is a good change. And yeah, hope you enjoy it. So just checking out the summer crops that are now been in a week, and yeah, we've got them coming up. So This paddock here, like all of them you'll see down the distance here, were sacrifice paddocks over the autumn and winter. So yeah, sprayed them out, and yeah, we've got a turnip crop in here. So we've got a new variety growing here which is called Toto. It's a clear crop variety. Essentially it's a new group of herbicides that we can use to control weeds, and I sprayed the Talora, I think it is, as a post-sowing pre-emergent, and yeah, hopefully that'll help control. But yeah, really good germination so far. You know, to be up in a week and we've had nothing but pretty ordinary weather with this misty rain all the time. Pretty big storms coming here now by the looks of it. So yeah, haven't seen the sun here now for probably 2 or 3 weeks. So it sort of feels like Mary reckons we're back in Ireland with the way the weather is at the moment. But so it's a pity we didn't see any rain earlier and a bit more sun now compared to early in the season. But yeah, hopefully these will grow well with the moisture we've got, and yeah, they'll become part of our diet in sort of December period when grass. Hopefully we've still got grass then, but yeah, typically then when grass is starting to dry off, and we'll go on to these during the summer months. Beautiful spring day here, so we're into sowing our summer crops. So all these paddocks here are what we used as our sacrifice when we had no grass, and then we've just got a contractor here just sowing our turnips just with a power harrow and air seeder. So pretty simple setup. So we'll use these in December onwards to feed cows. By then most times we're out of grass, or grass growth is slowed up. But hopefully it isn't. Beautiful spring day. Growth rates today will be up, 60, 70 kilos. We're probably averaging a good 50 to 60 a day at the moment. So yeah, done pretty well. Yeah, pretty cruisy time of year. So this is sort of what we're going into now from a perennial point of view. Look, to be honest, this is probably ideal grazing what we would like, and anything like next door will be skipped. It's probably already at 3,500 cover, so we'll skip that one and that'll go to silage. But even some of this now, like it's obviously canopy closure, still really good quality. But plenty of cover here for the girls. So we're at the point now where grazing's going really well. Just been a challenge getting residuals correct, getting grazing right, because we started all our Italians first, and then these perennials here that got grazed probably 25-ish days ago. But then we've had to go back to the Italians before we come back to these, because just how it's worked out this year. So yeah, grazing's done real well. So I guess from an update from a feed point of view, we haven't fed anything else now for 4 weeks, and even up to that last week or two before we finished feeding, we're only feeding a couple of kilos of almond hulls and cottonseed, etc. So everything now is just grass and 6 kilos of grain in the dairy. We're still ticking along about 2.2 solids, and our average days in milk's about 200-ish days without looking. So really happy with how the girls going, and they're holding calf really well. Looks like we've got about 12% empty, so we haven't done a final preg test, but yeah, looking really positive from that point of view, which is great for the season that we had. So just to conclude, probably just want to show you how the girls are going. So we're in an Italian paddock tonight, which is under the pivot, which has got resemblance of still this hunter that we sown back in autumn. So there's still a bit of that coming through, but yeah, they're going really well. So I think, as I mentioned earlier, they're sort of doing about 2.2 solids. And yeah, it looks like really good in calf rates for us. So really happy with how they're going. So apart from that, September is a very cruisy month. Typically, unless it's really wet, which can be a struggle. But you know, if a normal September, you're actually coming out of the wet. Traditionally, this year obviously it didn't get wet at all, but you know, you're grass and grain, no feeding. You know, all we're doing is, you know, some fertiliser, and you know, managing rotation. So, you know, September's really good. This part of the world, we've got, you know, local footy finals and also AFL footy finals, and you know, my side, the Geelong Cats, are in the grand final tomorrow. So yeah, heading back down to Melbourne again in the morning to watch that. But you'll see some footage here of last week's game, which was the preliminary final. And yeah, it was a great night. It was 99,500 at the MCG. So yeah, something that is a very good, you know, great to watch and be a part of. So hope you'll enjoy it. We should be into silage next month if this weather finally clears, and yeah, hopefully we'll still get a bit of rain as well. Thank you.
Hi, Ollie Badcock here from Curnow Pasture. Welcome back along for another month of updates. What happens in snowy Southland? What are we up to? Calves. We've gone really well with calves this year. We have had a bit of crypto and rotavirus go through the last of our calves this year, which has caused a few dramas and issues. My wife Lauren, she's going to do an update on the calves there this year. They're in this video. What else have we been doing? We've done a bit of groundwork for a site preparation, building a new shed. So I've got a new shed going up for fertilizer. We've also done some more disbudding, so the rest of our calves are being disbudded there now. And on to the fun stuff, the grass. Well, I like to say grass will be growing underneath, you know. Getting the plough on for preparation, but I don't think I'm going to be doing any ploughing anytime soon. Grass. Last week we were 20-30 average cover. We just grew demand last week. That's the first time we've grown above demand or at demand. And now we're going to see a real struggle. This cold snap is going to really check us. We've had to up our silage. So we're feeding about 5 kilos of silage, 5 kilos of meal, and trying to get 8 of grass without making any mud, any mess. Yeah, it's a bit of a challenge. It's just a bit of a slow start, but the outlook is looking positive. We're looking some drier, warmer days ending there this week, heading into the beginning of October here now. Starting to tidy up quite a few jobs really. What else I've got shown in this video is I done some metro checking there last month. All of my August calvers, so there's about 650 cows to check, and out of those 650 I had 15 to treat. So all in all, calving has gone pretty well. We're up to about 815 or 820 cows calved, and we've got another 55 to go. So yeah, zero metabolic problems, just a couple of prolapse just a prolapse and a paralysis cow. And yeah, onto the calf rearing. They're now trying to get these calves to weight, to wean them. And yeah, so after that spell of weather that we've just had, we just kicked our first What's in here, hon? 75 calves out into this paddock. A couple have got a few calf coats on, just give them a bit extra warmth in all that weather. But shed space started filling up, so we needed to kick a few calves outside. So this is the first mob outside.
So probably the main things going on this month, we've had the rest of the calves disbudded, which that was yesterday. That was the last of them. So I'll be able to get some more calves out the shed hopefully this week. And Holly's been fencing some calf paddocks for me, which is fab. We've also had a touch of rotavirus, which hasn't been ideal. 2 or 3 pens in the shed have had it, and yeah, it just creates a bit more work. You're up all hours of the day electrolyting calves, and yeah, but I think general consensus is a lot of people have had rotavirus in their last few calves. It's probably due to a bit of overstocking in the pens and stuff, but we seem to have overcome it this year by just putting them all back on gold colostrum, small gold colostrum feeds, and then in between that just giving them electrolytes, which yeah, we're through it now, which is great. So yeah, these girls will probably come in for a drench at the weekend. They come in for a drench and then they go over the scales, and we can see who's just not doing as well, and we'll just pull them back into the smaller mob, so the competition is a bit less. They'll get a drench, and yeah, probably get their coats off, some of them. Just put a few coats on small ones this season, but yeah, they're doing well. Nice rainy day in Kaiwera.
So what I'm doing here this morning is metro checking the cows, and this is to find out any animals that have got any infections left after calving. We try and do this as early as possible, but we try and give the cows time enough to recover. So this morning I'm checking all of our August calvers. So I went round and I painted up the tail heads of all the August calvers, and that gives me the I think we got about 600 to check this morning. Just making sure they haven't got any infections left over from calving, and then I will go through and treat these in the morning, later on this morning, and then we'll do the same again there next month for the September calvers. So what we try and do is try and do an awful lot of this pre-mating. We'll also do some pre-mating bloods to make sure the mineral levels and trace elements are up to scratch. And if they need any extra, we'll go through and do a B12, selenium, or add anything that they need. So currently we're sitting around just shy of 90% calved in 5 weeks. So we've had a busy start. Cows are coming into milk really well, and these heifers have got some, well, the first calvers have got some really good condition on them. Really pleased with how they're working into the system.
Hello all, welcome again to Limerick. Another month done, month of flying it. So an update with the last month. The change we've made, it was the 25th of September of last year when we start putting the cows in by night. As I was saying to you before, we don't have access to our silage ground, so for the cows don't have access to silage ground, so we kind of generally get tight in September and being able to build up cover. So usually the cows, when it gets to the end of September, the cows start going in by night. But this year it came a bit quicker because August, the last 2 weeks of August, we just didn't get the rain, and that's generally when we like to build up covers. So what we're doing the last 2 weeks, we're actually putting 40 cows into the shed by day and by night. So it's just 2 rows of cows. So it's either the last 2 rows of cows or the first 2 rows of cows, whichever, just does 40 cows in by day and in by night. And it was just to see what way it would work, but instead of putting them all in by night. But it's easy enough to manage it, in that the silage only has to be put in every couple of days as such, and just pushed in. Like, there's no whole lot of work in it. You're only liming one shed as opposed to liming the whole shed. Granted, you're doing it twice a day, but it is quick. It seems to be easier to manage in terms of if you have the cows trying to get them to eat out a paddock, and then they come in and they can fill their bellies inside, or vice versa if they're going out full and you're not blackguarding them to skin a paddock, you know they're going out full, because the bale silage is tis top class stuff, like tis surplus paddocks that were taken off during the year, so it is good. So it's just another way of doing it, but I'd be happy enough with how it's working. So our grass then, it made a big difference to the grass. Like, our farm cover, where our farm cover now at the moment is 849, 850, and cover per livestock unit is 447. So, like, we need to be, our farm cover, you'd like it to be higher, average farm cover, you'd like it to be higher, but cover per livestock unit, that's on target. And by taking almost a third of the cows out, like, you've jumped from the mid 400s up to the mid 400s from the mid 300s, and from being tight on grass to automatic, suddenly now you've loads of grass. But so it does work, and it has enabled us to build covers, and we're stretching out now. We're gone well past 30 days, and we're heading on to 40-day rotation, which we kind of need to be. Then it takes your demand in. Our demand in goes down to 30. We got our growth last week of 43, and our demand is only 30. So we're still building, like. So it's just a different way of doing it. It works well for us. The yield at the moment, we've dipped below 18, so we're at 17.9 litres. Fat is 522 and protein is 438. Somatic cell is at 99,000. Normally I always call silage protein poison, but it has held up well. I'd say it is good silage, and it is only, not all of them are getting it. We'll say there's only 40 each time, so it isn't having that much of an impact. What else has happened? The calves, the ones with the grass scour, we lost 2 more since, so our total is now up to 4 lost. There's another one now that is in with the last 2 months, had recovered, and the failed to get up. Today's Wednesday, and on Saturday morning she actually failed to stand. Don't know why. She's not getting up now, she's struggling. And like, she had, in my mind, she had fully recovered. The dungs she was passing were perfect for the last while. So I'm kind of starting to convince myself now that it could be something else instead of grass scour, because all along we've been ticking every box with giving them hay out in the field. They weren't going early, they were made eat out paddocks, they were strip grazed, they were even zero grazed, but pre-mowed in front of them. So this girl who's down now, I can't see her making it out at the end of the week. Like, we're lifting her up and we're trying and messing, and it's frustrating, but we'll see. I don't know. We're thinking now that when she passes, we'll send her off to the lab to be tested to see what else it could be, because I don't know what it could be. What else then? We're scanning tomorrow evening, so at the moment it's hovering, with assuming it's at 13% or at 12.9, and hopefully we might find a few surprises. We'll wait and see. Cows are in great order, and everything is very content. Sometimes it can be hard to get them in, but they're all very happy. The rest of the calves are fine. We went clear on our TB test as well. So we have the last few beef calves that we had held on to. They're all shifted on. So we went to the mart last Monday and did very well. It worked out great, been locked up for those few. And we have some of our heifer calves in as well. We have someone coming to hopefully look at them next week. What else then have I got? We are scanning tomorrow evening, and after we're scanning, then we will pick out 10 or 15 of the first time calvers that are calving. Like, we start calving around the 20th of January, so we'll have about 10 or 15 of the first time calvers, and we'll take them out, and again that'll reduce our demand as well for grass, because we've plenty of grass in the outside place. And they're like, some of them are obviously only milking just around the 10 litres. I never said the level of ration, so we're currently feeding the 3.5 kilos of ration in the parlour. But like, some of those first time calves, I say, are not milking a whole lot, and we'll pull them and take them to the outside block. But everything else is going well. The bit of ground we reseeded is coming on fine, and yeah, everything else is good so far.
Evening, guys. So just to touch on our business, we Dendelo Investments, dairy business in KwaZulu-Natal Midlands of South Africa. We're a pasture-based dairy farming business. We've got farms in the Mooi River area and Calved, close to Underberg. And we milk about 4,500 cows, doing probably about a 6,500 litre lactation. They're all Kiwi cross. We do have some jerseys, some purebred jerseys, which will be bred out to a Kiwi cross animal. The cows are on pastures all year round. They have some supplements in the form of concentrate, probably about 2 tons a year, and we are harvesting probably about 15 tons of pasture per hectare, and then we feed maize silage, which we grow and harvest ourselves. And each operation has a manager on it which runs the whole business, or that whole operation. They manage the finances, they manage the grass, they manage the cows, and they manage the staff. So, we've got a very solid team, and without them we wouldn't be able to do it. This operation over here is about 250 hectares of irrigation, and we're in the process of removing some timber, put in dryland pastures for heifers, and grow extra maize silage. One of the other strengths of our business is that, actually mentioned it, is the people. So we employ about 100 people employed in the business amongst the farms. Obviously, we run 4 dairies, so we've got about 40 over here. Swing over 60 rotary and Underberg, and then two smaller swing overs, 20 and 30 in Underberg. And one of our successes is that we pride ourselves in the way we upskill people, and we try and develop them, we try and get the best out of them, we try and help them to grow internally, and in doing that we reap the benefit of their growth within our business. We have an off-farm office which is based in town, where we employ 3 ladies who help us with all the admin. They do all the accounts, wages, meetings. The business is run very structured, and the fact that we have farm staff meetings, so we listen to what the staff tell us, and we try and be proactive on that front. And then once a month we have management meetings where we run through the performance of each business, and we also use benchmarking to make sure that we are keeping up in the industry.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Lufwelu Tomboni. I'm an operations manager here at Broadside Farm, Dendelo Investments. The farm is based in Mooi River. We're milking a head of Kiwi crosses, which is New Zealand genetics. We're milking a head of 2,300 cows. We're splitting our head into 4 groups. The first group, which is the fresh girls that calved now in spring, which is the first and second lactation cows. Then the second group, it's the third lactation and up, also fresh girls that calve now in spring. The third group, it's the small girls, first and second lactation that calved in the autumn season. Then group number 4, it's the third and up lactation girls that calve in the autumn. Those two groups which are currently pregnant now, they're going to calve next year in the autumn. Our group 1 is currently sitting at 24 liters per cow, eating 8 kgs at the dairy, and then the rest of the diet is comprised by the pastures. Then group 2 is sitting at 32 liters per cow. They're getting 10 kgs pellets at the dairy, and the rest of the diet is pastures. Group 3 is sitting at 18 liters per cow. Then the rest of the is sitting at 18 liters per cow. They're getting 6 kgs pellets at the dairy, then the rest of the diet is pastures. Group 4 is currently doing 22 liters. They're getting 7 kgs at the dairy, then the rest of the diet is pellets. Those are our 4 groups of animals. We have 2 seasons on the farm, breeding seasons. We have the autumn season and we have the spring season. Our split of the seasons, it's a 60-40 split, more or less, you can call it 45-55, which is 45 is the autumn season and then 55 is the spring season. Our breeding season for the autumn starts the 1st of June. Then our breeding for the spring starts the 1st of November. And then our breeding season, they're running for 9 weeks. Then we do the catch up with the bulls. So what we've been doing for the past month on the farm, we've done our spring vaccines. We've been calving down cows for the spring. And we've been doing specs with the vets, the post-mortem examinations with the vets, checking the cows if they clean themselves out properly before the start of the season. We've just started the pre-breeding heat spotting for the spring season. Just getting in preparation, checking our girls if they're cycling properly before the season starts, so that we can deal with the non-ostrus cows or the cows that are not cycling, the non-cyclers early before the season starts. In 3 weeks' time, we're going to start with our spring breeding. We're going to be breeding 1,300 odd cows. Then we're going to be breeding 300 heifers, 324 heifers that we're going to be breeding for this coming season, which is going to be a big season, but we're used to it. We're going to get those results. That's why we do went up with the preps early for the breeding season. The pastures have been growing very well, nicely for the spring. We pulled the heifers into the platform, stopped feeding the girls silage, and everything has been going very well on that side. And the cows are pumping. It's currently sitting at 24 liters per cow average, the whole head. And they're getting an average of 7.14 kilos of concentrates from the dairy, which is equates to around about 323 grams per liter, if you want to calculate it like that. We're busy with the maize preparations now. We're going to be starting planting maize very soon, which is also part of our operation system, because the maize help us a lot. When we're short of grass, we put the silage, also the grain at the dairy, the concentrates. It's coming from our maize, partly of it, and then the other we buy from the outside. This is the operation that's based in Moy River. We have other operations that are based down in Underpeck,